Welcome to VLGA Connect. It's time for the Newsroom segment with the CEO of the VLGA, Kathryn Arndt. Hi, Kathryn.
Hi, Chris. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Welcome to spring.
Oh, spring has sprung and the season's changed, and so is the opposition leader today in Victoria, and we acknowledge the, appointment of Matthew Guy as the new opposition leader. Perhaps he may want to come on to VLGA Connect and have a chat about some of his party's priorities for the state.
Perhaps he may. Of course, we'd be interested to hear his views and thoughts on how they support local government.
In particular, of course, that would be the most important thing we'd want to hear about. We did have the Minister, or the Shadow Minister for Local Government, on the program recently, David Morris, and I guess he'll be remaining in that portfolio, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
That's a good point. There'll probably be some sort of a shuffle, I would think, of the shadow cabinet. So we will watch that with interest. And speaking of that particular episode of the show, it's been watched with interest by many people so far, which is good to see.
Oh, terrific. That's great. Look, I understand while we're talking about the opposition that the Shadow Planning Minister, David Davis, has also been talking with some of the sector about proposed planning reforms, which we are yet to receive or get the detail of. They've not been announced, but there's a little bit of speculation out there. The VLGA's being contacted by a couple of councils, just concerned about what those planning reforms might look like. As we, I think, indicated last week on the program, without the detail, without the formal announcements, it's difficult to comment on what they might actually include. There were some consultation sessions last week on planning reforms, in particular the next iteration of Plan Melbourne, and I believe there's some consultation papers that have come out today that in circulation. So if the VLGA will probably have a look at those and include anything that we're able to in our next sort of update for the members.
Excellent. I must check those out. The other one that's bubbling away is the decriminalisation of sex work and the impact that will have on councils as well. I think there's a couple of reasonably hot topics at the moment that bear looking at a little more closely when we have more detail.
Yeah, indeed, and they're actually related in some ways because they do link into the planning scheme. And as I think you and Steve talked about that on the governance update last week, Fiona Patton, who led, I guess, that initiative in Parliament, has reached out to me and also the VLGA President, Councillor Denise Massoud. So we'll be catching up with Fiona in the next week or so. I imagine that now that we have put in our formal submission, as have other stakeholders, she'll be really keen to get a sense from us on behalf of the local government sector as to what some of the questions might be, or even concerns if they're out there.
That's a really good opportunity. I look forward to you telling us more about that, if you can, on a future episode of the Newsroom.
Yeah, we might even broach again an invitation with Fiona to come on the program, and she can talk directly herself to this initiative.
That would be even better, absolutely. Now, some news items of interest to the sector. There's been a flurry of information out of the state in the last few days. Low interest loans now available to councils through Treasury. This is, I guess, one of those subjects we come back to every now and then around councils and their capacity and willingness to take on debt.
That's right. It is a topic of discussion at the moment at the state government level, and I'm not surprised, given that a lot of funding has had to be reallocated and diverted to deal with the acute pandemic that we are in, also coming off the back of the bushfires, of course. And it's an ongoing conversation with the local government sector around this issue of debt, around borrowing against what are often very rich asset bases in councils. So yesterday there was a formal announcement, and all mayors received a letter from the acting Minister for Local Government, Mary Ann Thomas, which outlined the new local council lending framework. So if members haven't seen that yet, you should talk with your CEO. We'll also include a link to that media release in this episode of Connect.
Yes, which has got a little bit more detail in it. I'm sure probably not as much as is in the communication to CEOs. Some funding announcements as well, both funding being given and funding programs opening. We might just quickly whip through these, Kathryn. Firstly, the Growing Suburbs Fund. I think this is another $50 million for the growth area councils.
That's right. That's an application process, I believe. So that was a $50 million allocation for that. And also the Living Libraries Infrastructure Program funding, which is to be used to build and upgrade better community facilities such as libraries and playgrounds.
I think councils can apply for up to $1.5 million as the maximum grant under that program. They've handed out some money to councils for their municipal roadside management responsibilities, dealing with feral pests and weeds, etc., which is always good to see. That's an ongoing funding program. And the other one that caught my eye, and I don't think it's on your list there, Kathryn, is the announcement of a new building blocks partnership deal that the state has done with Wyndham City Council. It's about $47 million, I think, co-contributed over 10 years to deliver kindergartens in one of those fast growth areas. I'm thinking that might be a bit of a sign of the way they're going to approach these growth area issues in future, particularly kindergartens.
Yeah, indeed. I haven't seen the detail of that one, but that's really interesting and I'll have to catch up on that. Which leads us into, and there seems to be a lot of funding to the Infrastructure Australia 2021 Australian Infrastructure Plan that was published recently, again focusing on place-based investment, investing in regional communities. I think they're looking at a $110 billion infrastructure spend. We're delighted to say that we've invited the CEO of Infrastructure Australia to come onto the VLGA Connect program to talk to that report and the recommendations in it.
Interesting, isn't it, that that's come out the week after Infrastructure Victoria. I think Infrastructure Victoria is a 30-year strategy. The Infrastructure Australia plan is a 15-year plan. I'm sure people are looking at the two and seeing what lines up and what doesn't. Have you done any of that sort of analysis yourself?
I haven't at this stage. And of course, we are inviting Michelle Mason, CEO of Infrastructure Victoria, to come onto the program and talk about Infrastructure Victoria's plan. It would be terrific to have both Infrastructure Australia and Infrastructure Victoria on the same or in the same interview. But at the moment, because of the significance, I think, of both reports, it would be more constructive, I think, to have a one-on-one interview, and then maybe down the track we can have the two agencies come together.
I have noted some pretty positive responses to the Infrastructure Australia plan. The Australian Local Government Association commented on local government being recognised as the agent of change in, I think, 6 of the 9 key focus areas that were outlined in that plan. And the other one was Regional Capitals Australia, really highlighting the fact that it recognises the role that regional areas are playing, particularly with the big shift that's been happening under the pandemic, which people seem to agree is going to continue.
Oh, look, absolutely. And I think it's been something that has been talked about for a few years now, but just accelerated in this pandemic. I did note that you talked about the VLGA response to the Infrastructure Australia plan on local government roundup in the episode the other day.
I did indeed. Thank you. I'm glad you're listening to that.
I do listen to that. Of course I do. It's one of the VLGA's jewel in the crown, in the showcase of our platform.
Very good. Very pleased to hear it. Now, but of course, there are other things that you do too. And of course, Fast Track and live panels are always well attended. Let's deal with live panels firstly, because we're coming to that part of the year where councillors are turning their mind to who's going to be their first among equals, the leader of the group for the next period.
That's right. Last year, around this time, we ran a live panel discussion on the role of mayor, more than just a title. And it looked at really the attributes of the role and was put in place to help councils make that very important decision of who would be their mayor, particularly in the first year of a new council term. So we're continuing that discussion. We've got a live panel set up now for Thursday, the 23rd of September. Details should be going out any moment. In fact, as we're speaking, we've got a stellar panel lineup there. We have Tony Rounick, of course, from Hunt and Hunt Lawyers, but also a former mayor and councillor. We have Councillor Kim O'Keefe, who is at Shepparton, and also Ian McCormick, who is an academic and author based in Canada, but has written a few books on local government, in particular looking at the elected representative arm and their responsibilities in governance. And he's in the very stages of writing a book on what makes a good mayor, the attributes of a mayor. So it'll be terrific to have him on the panel and get his insights. Although it's a different jurisdiction, the issues are still the same. And yeah, looking forward to that. Of course, Chris, you and I will be moderating that panel. We're also looking at some other live panels. IBAC is keen to join us again. There's a few things there that they would like to talk about. A report recently released, I believe, on the perspectives of local government employees, but we're also going to have a live panel with IBAC, the Municipal Inspectorate, and also Local Government Victoria, just to look at reflections of the first year of the council term, but also to talk about the work of the different agencies, where they differ and also how they work together. So look out for that one.
Excellent. And just on the mayoral panel, it's sounding like a truly global panel with the incorporation of a guest from Canada. People can start to book in for that now, Kathryn. It's only a couple of weeks away, really.
That's right. Registration details are up on the VLGA's website.
And fast track, we had moved it once, or you had moved it once to the 1st of October because of COVID restrictions. You've thought now that it's going to have to move online?
That's right. We're going ahead, but we're going online, and it will be a really exciting event because we are going to, how can I say, not that any of our live panels aren't a top quality production, but we will invest in a professional production company to assist us with that, so that registrants get the best possible experience. It'll be difficult with a day-long session to run it in the format that we would do a normal VLGA Connect live panel. So hopefully, I mean, we've already got quite a number of people registered for that, but now that it's online, and I know that people are reluctant to travel because we just don't know what might happen, they'll make themselves available. Excellent. So that's the 1st of October, and you can book for that one now as well. All right, that's everything on my list for today on the newsroom. Kathryn, anything before we wrap up? No, not from me. I think that we've covered off a lot there. Terrific. It's another newsroom over and out, Chris. Another one in the can. Thank you, Kathryn. Have a good week. Stay strong, stay happy and healthy in lockdown. Hopefully we'll get some clarity soon on what's coming next. Indeed. And you too, Chris. Take care. Kathryn Arndt, CEO of the VLGA. That's the newsroom for the 7th of September. Thanks for your company on VLGA Connect.